Florence is a town 61 miles southeast of Phoenix, in the Pinal County of Arizona, United States. Florence, which is the county seat of Pinal County, is one of the oldest towns in that county and is regarded as a National Historic District with over 25 buildings listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The population of Florence was 25,536 at the 2010 census. History. The area where the current town of Florence is located was once inhabited by the members of the Athabascans, ancestors of the San Carlos Apache tribe. Prior to the establishment of the town, the Gila River served as a part of the border between the United States and Mexico. In 1853, the Gadsden Purchase extended American territory well south of the Gila. Levi Ruggles, a veteran of the American Civil War, founded the town of Florence on the south bank of the Gila River. He came to Arizona Territory in 1866 as a U.S. Indian agent. Recognizing the agricultural potential of the valley, he found an easily fordable crossing on the Gila River and surveyed a town site there. With the aid of Governor R.C. McCormick, he secured a post office in August of the same year. Ruggles held numerous public offices including that of territorial legislator. Florence became the county seat in the newly formed Pinal County. Silver was discovered in 1875 in the nearby mountains, which led to the creation of the famous Silver King mine. In 1870, Fred Adams founded a farming community 2 miles west of the original Florence townsite. The farming town had stores, homes, a post office, a flour mill, and water tanks. It was named Adamsville. In the 1900s, the Gila River overflowed after a storm and ran over its banks. Most of the small town was wiped out and the residents moved to Florence. The area where the town was established is now a ghost town and is currently within the boundaries of Florence. At the junction of Highway 79 and 287 there is a historical marker about Adamsville. A canal was built in the 1880s which enabled water from the Gila River to be diverted for irrigation. Farming and ranching then played a major role in Florence's economy. All of the federal land transactions for southern Arizona were conducted in Florence until 1881, when the federal land office was moved to Tucson. One of the most notable gunfights in the Old Southwest occurred in Florence. Sheriff Pete Gabriel hired 39-year-old Joseph Fire as his deputy in 1883. Gabriel decided to not run for sheriff in 1886 and supported his deputy Fye for the job. Later, Gabriel withdrew his support because of personal differences with Fye. The two friends became bitter enemies and had a confrontation on May 31, 1888 in the Tunnel Saloon. A gunfight ensued and spread to the street. Both men received gunshot wounds. Fye died a few hours after the gunfight, but Gabriel survived the encounter and died 10 years later. The second Pinal County Courthouse was built in 1891. It was the site where the trials of 3 notorious women were presented. They were Pearl Hart, Eva Duggan and Winnie Ruth Judd, known as the Trunk Murderess. Pearl Hart was an outlaw of the American Old West. She committed one of the last recorded stagecoach robberies in the United States. Her crime gained notoriety primarily because of her gender. She was tried in 1899 and was acquitted. However, the judge ordered a second trial and she was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years in prison. In the 1930s, Eva Duggan was convicted of murder. She was sentenced to be executed by hanging. However, it resulted in her decapitation and influenced the state of Arizona to replace hanging with the gas chamber as a method of execution. Winnie Ruth Judd was a Phoenix medical secretary who was found guilty of murdering and dismembering her friends Agnes Ann Leroy and Hedvig Samuelson over the alleged affections of her lover Jack Halloran. The jury found her guilty of first-degree murder on February 8, 1932. An appeal was unsuccessful. Her trial was marked by sensationalized newspaper coverage and suspicious circumstances. Judd was sentenced to be hanged February 17, 1933, and sent to the Arizona State Prison in Florence. The sentence she received raised debate about capital punishment. Her death sentence was overturned after a 10-day hearing found her mentally incompetent. She was then sent to Arizona State Asylum for the Insane. On April 24, 1933, in 1940, the cowboy movie star Tom Mix was killed when he lost control of his speeding Ford Phaeton convertible and rolled into a dry wash in Florence, Arizona. Mix, who was a regular tenant in the Ross Friar Cushman house, was returning to Florence from Tucson. There is a 2-foot-tall iron statue of a riderless horse with a plaque on the site of the accident. Geography and climate. Florence is located at 33.04222 degrees north, 111.3844 degrees west, 33.04222 minus 111.38444. According to the United States Census Bureau, the town has a total area of 8.3 square miles, all land. The city has the typical hot desert climate of lowland Arizona, with brutal summers and warm winters. Demographics. As of the census of 2000, there were 17,054 people, 2,226 households, and 1,540 families residing in the town. The population density was 2,056.2 people per square mile. There were 3,216 housing units at an average density of 387.7 per square mile. The racial makeup of the town was 57.12% white, 9.17% black or African American, 4.42% Native American, 0.83% Asian, 0.05% Pacific Islander, 26.79% from other races, and 1.64% from 2 or more races. 35.42% of the population were Hispanic or Latino of any race. There were 2,226 households, out of which 23.9% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 53.5% were married couples living together. 12.1% had a female householder with no husband present, and 30.8% were non-families. 26.0% of all households were made up of individuals, and 12.7% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.35, and the average family size was 2.80. In the town, the population was spread out, with 7.6% under the age of 18, 14.8% from 18 to 24, 50.1% from 25 to 44, 18.0% from 45 to 64, and 9.5% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 35 years. For every 100 females there were 482.8 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 582.5 males. The median income for a household in the town was $36,372, and the median income for a family was $41,959. Males had a median income of $25,545 versus $28,279 for females. The per capita income for the town was $11,278. About 6.1% of families and 7.0% of the population were below the poverty line, including 6.1% of those under age 18 and 6.6% of those age 65 or over. Prisons. As of 2016, Florence is home to multiple state, federal, county and private prisons. Arizona State Prison Complex, Florence, run by the Arizona Department of Corrections, housing Arizona state prisoners. The former Arizona State Prison, and location of Arizona's execution chamber. Arizona State Prison Complex, Amen, run by the Arizona Department of Corrections, housing Arizona state prisoners and Arizona's death row. Arizona State Prison Florence West, operated by the GEA Group, housing Arizona state prisoners. Central Arizona Correctional Facility, operated by the GEA Group, housing Arizona state prisoners. Central Arizona Detention Center, run by Corrections Corporation of America, housing prisoners for the United States Marshals Service. Transcorp America LLC, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Pascua Yaqui Tribe Government and the United States Air Force. Florence Correctional Center, run by CCA, houses inmates for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, for the Vermont Department of Corrections, and for the United States Marshals Service. The Pinal County Adult Detention Center, operated by the county, housing local prisoners. Located just north of Florence during World War II, was a large prisoner of war camp for German and Italian prisoners of war, mainly captured during the North Africa Campaign. Japanese Americans arrested as enemy aliens after the U.S. entered the war were also interned nearby at the Gila River War Relocation Center. The prisoners were paid 50 cents an hour to pick cotton, but they were not allowed to buy cigarettes. However, they could buy tobacco, which they rolled themselves. McFarland State Historic Park on Ruggles Avenue has a display and information on this period of Arizona history. Developments. Florence is the location of the second Anthem development in the state of Arizona, being built by Pult and Del Webb. It is located 6 miles to the northwest of downtown historic Florence. The town's preserved Main Street and open desert scenery was the setting of the major motion picture Murphy's Romance. Florence is considered the hub of Pinal County, filled with historic buildings and rich history. Florence is home to the annual Country Thunder Music Festival. Florence is also the site for the proposed Coyote Canyon theme park. Points of interest. McFarland State Historic Park, St. Anthony's Greek Orthodox Monastery, Florence High School, Poston Butte. Historic properties in Florence. The following is a gallery of images of some of the historic structures in Florence, Arizona. They are either listed in the National Register of Historic Places or considered historical by the Florence Historic District Advisory Commission.